Okay, well, it is a beautiful day out. Snow's still on the ground, but it's a beautiful day to get some shit done. So I'm going to take these shingles over there, the sample ridge caps, set up the ladder, peel back the cover, and then I'm going to decide which angle of the ridge caps that I cut will work best on this Red Cedar Shingle Roof on the gazebo. So let's get going and get some stuff done here. Okay, so although the snow is not completely gone, there's still a couple of feet out here. It's a beautiful day. I'm trying to get this gazebo roof completed. Set the ladder up so I can measure off some ridge caps. And I did a couple of different angles, and I'll explain it to you in a second. But last fall, I stripped this gazebo roof and I put in some Red Cedar shingles, new Red Cedar shingles. Came out pretty great. And I got the shingles from a place in Tennessee. It's called Twin Creek Log Homes. I got the shingles there and I got the stain there. And pretty pleased with how it came out. I put a couple of pics. I didn't film my stripping it or putting the new shingles up. Might have one or two, but anyway, so what I'm trying to figure out is on the ridge cap, what's the angle that's going to sit down best? And there's different ways to measure this. You can just have a couple of boards, screw in the middle, lay them flat, and then tighten it up and figure out what the angle is. I also have this guy right here, which loosen up the end. You can set it on there, tighten it up, and then you'll see what the preferred angle would be for the ridge cap on these shingles. You can buy ridge caps, but really not for an octagonal roof. And then when you're done there, you can grab the protractor, put it on here, and it'll help you figure out what the cuts need to be, the angles of the cuts need to be on the saw, whatever saw you're going to use to make the cut. So I did that. I did like I said, a couple of different cuts to see which ones lay down the best. I'm going to do something that I had seen actually on another YouTube video, which is start on the front with a piece there. It's going to create 4 layers. First layer, second layer overhangs about 3/4 of an inch, while the first layer about an inch from the trim board. The next one's about a 1/2 inch overhang from the first layer of the shingles. And so now on the ridge caps, I used a couple of different shingles on this, and I'm going to cut this back to map the angle here. But this is on the saw, one of the angles that I cut, and I want to have it at a good pitch so that when the rain and snow settle on this, it runs off and there's no chance of it working its way underneath the under the shingle and down through the seam. I'm also going to put some tar paper under this to hold it in place. And so this one on the saw, it's basically set as a 33-degree angle. Not exactly a 33-degree angle because I didn't cut it flush on the saw. I cut it up against the straight edge. This one's a 30-degree, and you can see that one is up a little bit. This one I think was 35. And again, I want this to sit pretty tight. And when you look at the edges, I'll have it down the front. This is actually with an 18-inch shingles. The one I'm going to use is going to be the Red Cedar, 24-inch. And they are beautiful shingles that came from Twin Creek. But I'm looking at this, and you can see the center mark right there. And I'm kind of digging the cut of the shingle. Not that one. I'm going to get rid of that. And do another comparison with this guy. This one's pretty good too. Actually, I think I'm going to go with not much of a difference. I think I'm going to go with this shingle right here. The angle that I got on this, and like I said, on this I had done it before obviously, but this is probably the easiest way to lay it down and then use a protractor, get the angle that you're looking for, the number of degrees, and then work the measurements between the two cuts on each shingle, because you're going to have to cut both shingles. As you can see here, this shingle was cut with an angle there, top shingle was cut with an angle there, and then when you put them on, of course I have them all on that side, but when you put them on, you're going to stagger them, so the cut is also, it won't line up like this. The next cut will be this side, will be on that side of the shingle. So I just brought these up as samples to see which one angle I want to run with, but that's it. We're going to go with the 33, and we're going to start working on those in a couple of minutes, and I'll tell you how I make the ridge caps between the cuts, the glue, and tacking it with a nail gun. So we will head in the garage and get the next step going. Okay, so I'm back in the garage where I'm going to cut down the shingles and build them into ridge caps. So basically what I have, and I have some tools that are older, like myself. This I probably bought 45 years ago. I've been working with tools for a long time, so safety should be your first thought. What I'm doing here, you may not feel very safe doing it. If you're not, you shouldn't do it, and you should hire a contractor, get somebody else to do it, or find a better way to do it so that you don't feel you're putting yourself at risk. I'll leave it at that. A couple things that you want to be aware of. So this, I've already made quite a number of caps. This stuff is expensive, right? Red cedar shingles, it's expensive, and you go through a lot on a cedar, when you're putting on a cedar roof, especially octagonal, a lot of cuts, a lot of waste. So you want to be a little cautious. So I like separating out the different sizes, because when you make a ridge cap, the sizes you use for each shingle will end up being a little different. So this has a 4-inch overhang, okay, which means this shingle on the right is 4 inches wide. On the left here, which is the top shingle, it's 5 inches wide. So what I try to do is separate them out, create a stack of 4, 4.5, because I'm going to cut them all down so they're exact when I'm done. But you have the thinner ones, or the, you know, not as wide ones, and then the 5-inch wide ones over here are 5+. And those are what you're going to work with. So I'm going to make one cap, and I'll explain the process that I go through. I pulled out a couple of shingles already, so they're here. I'm going to cut those up. This is actually my nailing board, which you'll understand in a couple of minutes. What I also use are, I use the Gorilla Glue. Gorilla Glue has worked fantastic. This is the original Gorilla Glue, water resistant. I use a brad nail gun, and what I use are 1.25 inch stainless steel nails. So I'm going to glue and nail each of these ridge cap shingles that I put together. So with that, we can get going here. And I've already set the angle of the saw. I'm going with 35 degrees. And I have this on here because wood next to a saw blade is better than metal next to a saw blade. I have this on top of here so that I always remember to take it out, just trying to keep anyone who's around safe so they don't actually turn it on. But for now, this is going to get a little noisy. I'll move this stuff out of the way, and we'll go ahead and make a ridge cap. I'm sure there's going to be some people out there screaming that that's not how you should do it, but this is how I do it. So here we go. we go. Two different size shingles we end up with. We're going to have the one that's a little narrower underneath. The one that's a little wider will be on top. And I'm going to cut these down so we'll get the same overlap on both sides. I'm going to let the blade stop here for a second. There we go. So first we're going to do a little glue on the board, and then we're going to nail it together. So actually we'll do it on this side. So with that, and what I typically do is put some glue on here and thin it out with a scrap piece of wood. And I will tell you that the Gorilla Glue expands. It's like a polyurethane glue. So it is going to squeeze out. This is nothing fancy, this is just getting it done. And I know it's going to look great at the end of the day. Okay, so we got those done there. Lay that on top. I've already cut a bevel on this, so we have the 35 on the board I'm using to support the nailing. And we're going to line these up. I'll start right there. And I try to nail them every 4 inches or so. Some of these are going to come through on the bottom side. And that's okay, because it'll come off the board easy enough. And you're going to end up clipping them. And then at the end, any glue that is sticking out, I'm going to use a belt sander to clean these up on the ridge. And here it's pretty thin, but this is the exposure. You know, it's going to be exposed 8 inches to the weather, which is fine. These are 5/8 inch thick shingles. And I put an extra couple in here. All right. And that is how you do it. So there's maybe one that sticks at the end of the day. That's the shingle. That glue is going to squeeze out, similar to this one. But it's easy enough to get it off the board, clean it up, so when the oil stain goes on, and it is oil stain, it's going to look great. But that's how you do them. I typically do mass production. I've already done 45 of them. Think of this. You have a 12 by 12 octagonal gazebo. There's 10 rows of shingles, 8 inches to the weather. So I need to make over 80 of these, and I'm up to about 50. So anyway, now I'm at 51. But that's how you do it. That's how you make a ridge cap. Others have different ideas on how to do it. For me, it's working well, and I'm just about done. And hopefully in the next video, we're installing these on top of the gazebo. So with that, hope you all have a great day.